Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, and today we are going over my top 5 ungodly overpowered cruisers. These are cruisers that, for one reason or another, are just outright busted. If you take these ships into battle, you have a huge advantage over other cruisers, especially with the number 1 slot, so make sure you stick around for that. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get going. Starting off the list with number 5, which is the Tier 10 German light cruiser, the Elbing. Now, the Elbing has quite a bit going for it in terms of being just ungodly broken. First off, she has a relatively, non-existent citadel in comparison to other cruisers. It's very, very small. It's only a couple of pixels wide, but you can still hit it, so that's still balanced, right? So, whereas if you look at a lot of other light cruisers, their citadels are huge and massive in comparison, and they don't really have that much armor over them. The Elbing's is quite small, so it's quite difficult to hit. The Elbing herself is quite small too, which kind of compensates for her having a smaller hit point pool than other Tier 10 light cruisers, so it's physically a small target. But on top of that almost non-existent citadel, you have some of the most accurate light cruiser guns in the game. These 150mm guns on the Elbing have pretty much no dispersion. So that means that your maximum range with the Elbing, you pretty much don't have the shells moving around too much, and they're going to essentially go where you want them to go. So couple that with the Elbing's excellent concealment rating and her, again, non-existent citadel, you can sit there and dunk on other light cruisers, even some heavy cruisers too, and just, eat really overpins in return. You still have a smoke screen as well, so you can smoke up and sit there and farm with her excellent guns. And her guns have some absolutely amazing AP shells on them. You will be citadeling pretty much any other light cruiser that shows you broadside, almost at any range, thanks to the excellent physics behind her shells. She's about the only other ship in game that can really rival the Soviet biased AP for how well they maintain their penetrating power at range. So this is a ship that if you see this ship, another light cruiser, whatever you do, make sure you do not show it your broadside, because you will find yourself getting murdered by this German light cruiser. Now, she doesn't have a whole lot of utility, especially if you compare her to the other German cruisers, right? You get DFAA, you get smoke, but as far as like utility, you don't get that catapult plane that all the other German cruisers get, and most of the other German ships in game get. So that is, kind of one of the other balancing factors behind the Elbing. She's a tech tree ship too, so you can grind up to her completely for free, so that's a plus 2 as well. She's been out for quite some time, and I guess Wargaming is happy with where she's at. They're fine with this German light cruiser just overperforming to insane levels, right? It's so small, you can almost say it's a destroyer. But let's move on now to our number 4 slot, which is the Tier 8 Premium German Heavy Cruiser, the Tirpitz. Now, the Tirpitz, unlike the Elbing, has a little bit more of utility because she does get that catapult fighter. And the Tirpitz is, just one incredibly well-armored heavy cruiser. You could almost say she has battleship armor with how well-armored the Tirpitz is, but she's not. She's a heavy cruiser, right? You got the torpedoes, you get the heavy cruiser guns, and she is one of the earlier premiums that Wargaming started to, toy with the idea of putting battleship caliber guns on a cruiser hull. So you get those 15-inch German battleship guns that aren't really all that accurate by, anybody's standard, but you have that heavy armor to fall back on to where you can most certainly tank a lot of damage, especially for being a heavy cruiser. Now, of course, that leads to the Tirpitz being quite popular in anything Tier 8 competitives like Tier 8 Brawls, Tier 8 Ranked. You'll see many a Tirpitz in those modes because you have such a heavy and tanky ship there in that cruiser slot. So that's pretty good and all, but she does have some weaknesses, right? While she has an ungodly amount of HP for being a cruiser, and again, incredibly heavy armor for being a cruiser, like you can't really citadel a Tirpitz from close range at all. The armor is definitely a blessing and a curse. From longer ranges, Tirpitz will most certainly get chunked to, crap by just about anything with battleship caliber guns. You definitely don't want to show your broadside, really in any cruiser, let alone the Tirpitz, to anything with large caliber guns, because you will most certainly lose about 15k HP per salvo. Now, of course, this is counteracted by the fact that the Tirpitz does have a huge hit point pool for being a cruiser, so you've got that going for you as well. Now, the main battery guns being not that accurate, of course, is meant for the fact that this is a tier 8 cruiser with 15-inch guns, but also by the fact that you do have a lovely number of secondary guns on the Tirpitz, and these secondary guns can pin the common cruiser armor thresholds at tier 8. So when you're coming up against other tier 8 cruisers, well, yeah, you might overpin them with your 15-inch guns. You still have the accurate German secondaries to fall back on, and you also have your torpedoes as well, because remember, this is a cruiser. So Tirpitz is most certainly one of those cruisers you play from mid-ish range. You definitely don't want to go rushing in there right away at the beginning, really in any cruiser, let alone the Tirpitz, because, again, like I said, all those other battleships and such, they see you, they see your broadside, they see, ooh, that's a Tirpitz, it's a really chunky cruiser, I'm going to go ahead and rip 15k off of him, just like that. So you definitely want to, wait a minute, bide your time, and then head on in there when you see those opportunities opening up with the Tirpitz. Oh, she also doesn't have the best AA in the world, at all. So you definitely want to, if there is a CV around, find an AA buddy, because CVs know, hey look, that's a Tirpitz, it's nice and chunky, doesn't have that great of AA, that's a cruiser I can really, really bully. Alright, we're heading on down now to our number 3 spot, which is occupied by, yet again, another tier 8 German premium cruiser, the Graf Zeppelin. Now, many don't know this, but Graf Zeppelin is actually one of the earliest hybrid ships that Wargaming introduced into the game, introduced right before the CV rework, too. So this was an interesting little ship to play around in before the CV rework. But then we got the CV rework, and the Graf Zeppelin is most certainly something. Now, she does have one glaring issue that's finally being addressed with the CV rework that Wargaming is currently working on right now. So after the CV rework, for some reason, Wargaming goofed up and didn't, well, have the Graf Zeppelin's main battery guns be player controlled. For some reason now, her very excellent German 150mm light cruiser guns are controlled by the AI, and they act as secondaries, which is very strange indeed. These are some excellent light cruiser guns, and again, unfortunately, they're controlled by the AI at the moment, but with the CV rework coming out, they will once again be controlled by the player, so that's a nice fix. I'm glad Wargaming is finally getting around to that. Now, because of that, obviously, you've unfortunately been stuck with playing the Graf Zeppelin as mostly a CV instead of a hybrid cruiser. So you're stuck with her kind of lackluster planes that, they did give her 3 of them. That's a lot for a hybrid ship. It's not really until we got the Hildebrand here recently that we had a hybrid that had more than one type of plane. So that kind of helped out with the main battery guns being bugged as they are. So you got a flight of rocket planes, a flight of torpedo planes, a flight of AP dive bombers. So you got quite a bit of a variety there to work with at least, but sadly, again, this was designed as a hybrid cruiser. So unfortunately, the planes aren't all that great, and when you're going up against other actual carriers, it's a really rough time in the Graf Zeppelin. So, I'm looking forward to the CV rework to where we can have her main battery guns be player controlled again. Now, they are controlled by secondaries, by the secondary AI, but they are quite good. You can easily sell into, other cruisers and such, and they will tear them up, but again, I'd much rather, have control over them myself and, be able to, control them and play it as a proper cruiser, rather than playing it as a CV, as we're stuck doing now at the moment. Alright, going on our way down now to number 2, we have the Tier 9 Premium American heavy cruiser, the Illinois. The Illinois is a really interesting heavy cruiser. You see, she's got a similar look and feel to the Iowa-class battleship, but she has the Des Moines guns. She gets 12 guns, which are excellent cruiser guns. If you played Des Moines, you know how good these guns are at absolutely murdering other cruisers, or really anything that shows you broadside, with that great reload time coupled with the American Super Heavy AP, and then putting it on a hull that's similar to an Iowa but still in the cruiser slot makes this one hell of a ship to play against. So you get that, that battleship armor, and you get those cruiser guns coupled together. The world is absolutely your oyster in the Illinois, especially if you got someone like Halsey you can toss on the Illinois. With the Des Moines guns, you can absolutely just chew your way through other cruisers and bully battleships. And keep in mind too, not only the AP on the Illinois and the Des Moines is quite good, the HE is most excellent as well. So you get that good rate of fire with those Des Moines guns. You get 4 guns per turret. You'll be melting down targets left, right, and center in the Illinois. And since it is a cruiser slot, in a cruiser slot, again, you get, just like the Tirpitz, a big, heavy, tanky cruiser in that slot. So you're able to take this ship and definitely help out your team in terms of the tankiness. Now, it's not quite as tanky as the Iowa. It's got a little bit less HP than that because, again, it is a cruiser at the end of the day. So you got to kind of contend with that there. It does get the improved American battleship hill, so that does most certainly help out with the long-term survivability of the Illinois. Now, she is a Research Bureau cruiser, so you do have to regrind lines more than a few times to acquire her, but she's well worth it because, again, we're talking about, just like the Tirpitz, a cruiser with the tankiness of a battleship in that cruiser slot. So you most certainly would want to get this ship because, man, in ranked, in clan battles and such, this is a must-have for sure because of that increased tankiness in that cruiser slot. That takes us on our way down now to our number 1 ship, which this ship is by far the most cracked, the most busted cruiser in the game, and that is none other than the Tier 8 Premium British light cruiser, the Tiger 59. The Tiger 59 has an absurd level of utility at Tier 8. She's got smoke screen, she's got radar, she's got the Minotaur guns as well. You get 2 Minotaur turrets at Tier 8. That is absolutely crazy with the improved pin angles and such of the Minotaur. So you're able to chew your way through other light cruisers, really anything that is spotted for you. With these improved AP pin angles, you can chunk superstructures, you can chunk the extremities, the bow, the stern of the enemy ships, you can eat your way through destroyers and such, and I can't do this anymore. Happy April Fools, everybody. Okay, I don't know if anyone made it past the Elbing still believing this. I'm sure there's some pretty angry people in the comment section losing their mind, but congratulations to all of you that made it here to the end of the video, or at least went along with it for the watch time for this video, because I'm sure this is probably going to be in the gutter in terms of that. But yes, happy April Fool's Day, everybody. I know it's the 31st. I know it's still technically, not still technically, it still is March, but look, April Fool's is tomorrow, and I thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and have a fun top 5 video for the start of this week. Yeah, so I'm really interested to see how the comment sections responds to this video. It's been a while since we've done one of these. The last time I did a April Fool's Day video was, I believe, the last time it was either on a Monday or close to a Monday, and I had the top 5 video. That was a pretty good one as well. But yeah, so it's a joke. Don't take it seriously. Wargaming, if you're watching this, hi. I'm joking, I'm sure. I like to think Wargaming has a sense of humor, so yeah, hi. We'll see how many viewers have a sense of humor and go along with it and such in the comments down below. But yeah, it's just a fun video to start off the week, guys. None of this is serious. I'm well aware that the Elbing, the Tirpitz, the Graf Zeppelin, the Illinois, and the Tiger 59 are, well, the Tiger 59 is actually a cruiser, but the other 4, of course, are not. But yeah, just a little fun video to start off the week, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, got a good laugh out of it. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what the comments are going to look like in this video. But yeah, hope you guys have a great Monday. We're going to be back to serious videos starting tomorrow. So hope you guys enjoyed and see you then. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.